What's up, everybody? You're watching another episode of the Iron Obsession podcast. I'm your host, Anson, and I'm here today with Steve. Would you like to give a little background on yourself, how we know each other, what you've been doing, maybe some stats, stuff like
Sure.
that?
So let's see. Uh, we know each other from Fit for Life in North Carolina, of course. Whenever I went there, whenever I was like 13, 14 years old, just got into
Yeah,
bodybuilding. You were just getting into it really as well.
yeah.
I
What
remember you.
year? What year about you think this was? This is before COVID, right?
Yeah, this was right before. So I started going there before COVID, and then I kept going during COVID. Basically, right after COVID ended.
So probably like 2019, maybe.
Yeah, probably right around there.
So I would have been 19, and you would have been how old?
Let's see, 6 years ago.
My birthday's super easy because it's 2000.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. I'm that now. So let's see
Oh,
here.
dude,
So.
I'm worse. Trust me.
I guess I would have been 14. Yeah,
Yeah,
13,
wow.
14.
Wow,
So,
you were
yeah.
really 14 back then? That's crazy. Because, like, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
we all knew you were young and stuff, but considering how old you were crazy for 14, man.
Yeah, yeah, and I got screwed up going into like 18, 19 years old as well, but we can get into that a bit
Okay.
later so we
Yeah.
otherwise I mean, failures happen and stuff like that and you live and learn. So,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I have a million things like that I can point to, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
but anyway, so yeah, so we met there, so we didn't, I was 13, I was 14. You were 19, and
Yeah.
didn't know that either. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm an old fuck, dude.
you were in your, I remember you were really, really fluffy and big in your
Oh,
off
oh,
season.
dude, 19, man. I was probably pushing. I don't know what my fastest weight was. I wasn't checking it back then. I was probably pushing 260, like 20%, 25% body fat. Which is funny because I'm actually about, not, I probably wasn't 260. I was probably like 240, 250. I'm at my all time heaviest now. And it's a world of difference. But enough about me. On to you, what you were doing around that time of 2019. Like, what made you want to go to Fit for Life for the first time?
So before even moving down to North Carolina, because I'm originally from Pennsylvania,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
I started up here. I was like pushing obese whenever I was like 12 years old, so I got into the
Really?
gym, and I dropped like 50 pounds over the summer. So I did like one summer whenever I was like 13
Wow.
years old. Yeah,
I would have never guessed that. I would have always
yeah.
assumed you were the kind of guy who just like was naturally lean and diced.
Uh,
That's
no,
crazy.
I was a fatty. I'm still a fatty. I'm a big guy, and I got to hold myself back.
Oh, dude,
Like,
I'm eating 6,000. I could easily be on 9 right now, no problem.
oh yeah, yep, no problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting though. I would have never guessed that about you. What age do you think you really started to kind of put on the body fat? For me, it was around like 10 or 12 is when I really started to put on body fat.
That's pretty much the exact age I started to put it on.
Yeah.
I think it came from family stressors. To be honest, I didn't realize it at the time, but it would have been because we brought a little brother into my life like out of
Really?
nowhere, adopted, uh, and at the time I didn't think it was an issue, and I still don't. It's not an issue, so it's not. But it was just
Yeah.
an outside stressor that I didn't realize at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I coped through eating, which kind of like put on all that weight really quickly. So I put it on quickly, but then I kind of, you got made fun of by like girls in school, and I was like, well, shit. So I got to
Same reason I
pull it
cut.
off real quickly too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, same reason I cut, man. I was going in, I had been homeschooled for the entirety of middle school, and I was going to high school. I was like, you know what? I'm 5'9", 205 pounds, and I've never done anything athletic in my life, so I was a marshmallow. I should probably lose some weight so I don't get made fun of. So that's how I got into bodybuilding too. So kind of similar starting points there. But yeah, so like how did you go about doing that? I'm sure you know looking back at it, you probably cringe, but how did you go about losing that weight initially?
man, I was really big into like the Rocky films and
Oh,
stuff
okay.
like that. So
Makes sense,
and
Pennsylvania.
then
Yeah.
yeah, and then just looked up on YouTube like how do you get abs
Yeah.
basically like what do you do? And the first thing that came up was six pack shortcuts back whenever he was a
Yeah.
big thing.
I remember that.
And so I understood that I had to eat less. And by watching Rocky, I was like, okay, I got to run a lot. And then I did the six pack shortcut workouts. I was like, all right, a lot of ab work. That's basically what I did for,
Yeah.
3, 4 months. I starved myself throughout the day. I'd do like a protein shake and like, I don't know, a cup of soup or something.
Mm.
And I'd be walking around and my stomach would be so empty throughout the day that my breath, it's like that empty stomach breath.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I'm talking about,
Yep.
it's like almost like just stomach acid that you're
Yeah.
smelling.
It's like sulfur.
That's basically, yeah.
Yeah, same thing with me. I think I ate a packet of tuna, a Core Power protein drink, and that's probably about it for about 3 or 4 months. I went from 205 to 120 or 115
Yeah,
maybe.
cool.
Yeah, in like
Yeah.
3 months. You know, he said, "Well, what was your actual? Do you know what your heaviest weight was in that time, and what you got down to?"
So yeah, keep in mind I was 13 years old at the
Yeah.
time. So 12, 13 years old. I was only about like 5'3.5", 5'4". I'm only 5'7" right now. So I'm a short guy.
Lucky.
Perfect.
I wish I was 5'7". I'm only
Perfect.
I'm only 5'9" when I'm super lean.
But anyways, I think around that time I got up to about like 170, 180,
Okay.
which for that height, for that age, is pretty.
Yeah.
That was like pushing obese mark or so forth. So
Because what do they say? It's like 8 pounds per inch of height or something.
something like that, yeah.
So me being at that 5'9", I was 15 when I did all this. We were probably at pretty similar levels there, 205, 200, or 185, whatever you know.
Yeah, there's pictures on. I don't think I have them on my current Instagram, but if you go back to, I don't know if you follow my old one.
I'm not sure.
You know my old account. I can shoot it your way, but I have or maybe I can find it here real quick.
Yeah, if you can.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries though. But so that took you about 3 or 4 months, and then you probably had the same thoughts I did, right? You kind of broke the body down, got the fat off. I think you probably did a much better job of it than I did. Did you have abs by the end of it?
Uh, like
Like you know, like for that age, abs. You know what I mean?
for that age, definitely.
Yeah, dude, I didn't have abs until I did my first show.
So
I was skinny fat up until like 22.
that was like that was the last time I saw abs until I was like 16 though. So
Oh, okay.
because
Yeah.
after that I got into bodybuilding, so I started watching like a lot of Rich Piana and whatnot.
Dude, same.
So,
Yeah, dude, you remember back when bodybuilding.com had the free workouts?
oh yeah,
You ever
definitely.
do any of
Yep.
those? I remember it was either the Arnold or the Jay Cutler. Those were one of the first ones I ever followed. It was probably so much volume.
I don't think I know I did a ton of volume because I have my
Oh,
old training programs, but I don't think I went off of because I started with my dad actually in the gym.
Hmm.
He started with me for like the first few months, so he kind of like gave me like a random plan, like
Yeah,
a high school football kind of thing that you
just a
do.
base to kind of get started with. Yeah.
And then from there, I went on to the Arnold stuff, so I did. And then from there, I probably went into what was it? There was another big guy back then that was really popular on YouTube. It was high, but I don't know.
Let's see, 20. This is like 2016 probably if it's Rich. I don't know who that would have been.
Oh, it Cali Muscle.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
watched
yeah, yeah.
Cali Muscle and CT Fletcher. I was really big on
Oh,
those
dude,
guys.
I
So,
loved CT back in the day.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, I would listen to his Machiavelli motivation videos during arm day for whatever reason. Like you need to get hyped up for an arm day.
Well, I mean, back then you're
Yeah.
throwing the weight. You see them throwing the weight around like that. You don't. There's nobody doing that today. So there isn't nobody.
No,
Like,
there's not, man. I can tell you the past 2 days, probably longer, but just the past 2 days I've been thinking about it. I've not seen a single person take a set to failure. I haven't. It's crazy. But yeah. So you got a lot of your information from like Rich Piana, CT Fletcher, guys like that. But where do you think like your first, legit source of bodybuilding kind of diet training came from?
I have to think back on that because whenever you really like something, you really dive into it. So,
Yeah.
and once you dive into it, you kind of get from everybody, from everywhere. I think back then, I mean, my mindset was stuck on staying natural, I guess you could say at the time.
Hmm.
I thought like
You have really good genetics too. So like, I can understand that 100%. Like,
I
'cause you
was
had
young.
a great base.
I mean, I was young and dumb and thought I could look like Arnold.
Oh, dude, all of us thought that.
But my first source, I would say, probably like Jeff Nippert, to be honest,
Oh, okay.
back like 7 years ago, even, because he was putting out information on like push-pull legs and like tracking your macros and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I started out with tracking macros, I did If It Fit Your Macros basically the whole entire time I was down there in North Carolina up until like 18 years old. Then after that, I kind of got into my first meal plan. So I hired a coach.
So
My first coach.
you're like your first, like quote on legit plan would be from your first coach then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
with the Jeff Nipper thing, I remember that being very popular as well. For whatever reason for me though, I think it was because I loved Rich Piana so much. Like when he died, I was devastated, man. I watched every single piece of content that man put out. But seeing a guy like that and then seeing a guy like Jeff Nipper, and I was like, man, this guy don't know what he's talking about. And looking back at him now, Jeff is really smart. He's a great guy. But for me, I would say the first real like kind of piece of bodybuilding info that I found was actually John Meadows.
Really, that's
Yeah.
good. I wish I found him earlier
I
on.
wish I would have listened to more of what he actually said, but
Yeah.
that was the first piece. So who was your first coach, if you don't mind mentioning?
So my first coach was, yeah, I still follow him on Instagram, so I do. I only worked with him for like 3 months, and I
Oh,
kind of went
okay.
off and did so. But he did give me my first meal plan that I followed and stuff like that. Uh, his name is Brandon Jenkins, I think, on
Okay.
Instagram. He's a small local guy, so he's not like a big name coach, but
Yeah.
he took me on for like $100, and I just started my first cycle, so I did it like 19. So it was right around there, 18, 19. It was just
Yeah.
300 tests,
Yeah, I think for
and
me
that
it
was
was like I want to say 20 because I've been doing TRT since I was 19 because my natural test levels were I think either 175 or 225. I don't remember, but
okay.
they were low. So I did that for like a year or two, and then we all had our SARM Goblin phase, right? And then after that, yeah, it was probably something similar, like you said. That was probably 2021 or 22. I want to
Okay.
say. I could probably
Yeah.
find all the information, but and what was that like? Your what did you notice from that? How much of a difference did it make for you? Because people talk about that being a magical time where I think most of us who've been doing this for a while kind of realize it does what it does, but it's nothing magical.
So for me, actually, part of the reason I hopped on, so I say cycle, but it was really TRT. It
Yeah,
was it was
sports
it
TRT.
was yeah, it was just 300 milligrams test, and that was my first cycle for like a whole entire year and a half.
That's
It
smart.
was just all this. So,
Yeah.
but hopping on that and then having that meal plan he gave me, we went straight into like a bulking phase.
Hmm.
And the meal plan, it was like very generic. It was like this oatmeal, blueberry shake with protein, and
Hmm.
very like something that not Chris Tito, the other
Honey,
guy who, no, another guy that's known for putting a ton of food down you in the off season.
Chad Nichols.
Yep, that's him.
Yep.
Yep. It was a meal plan like that
So
basically.
were you doing like really high protein, like between 12, 16 ounces, something like that?
Oh yeah,
Oh, nice.
oh
So
yeah.
what was the highest amount you think you got up to per meal?
I mean, back then I didn't need. Oh no, I wasn't doing that. I mean, I do that much now, but back
Okay.
then it was probably 8 ounces because I was a
Okay.
small guy. But I remember it was also high fat, which surprised me because I'd have
Yes.
like
How do you feel about that generally now? Because we kind of change and grow throughout the years, and I've noticed I
yeah.
respond different to different macronutrients over the years. How do you like to set up your diet now? Because it sounds like back then it was kind of like a basic, which it works, but it's a very basic kind of bro diet where your carbs are probably pretty moderate, your fats are probably pretty moderate, but your protein is moderate as well. It's just kind of even keel.
There.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it works. Uh, the reason I remember was high fat was because I remember he had me having like 4 ounces of sausage for breakfast, and I'm like, it was like a freaking powerlifting thing. But today, definitely, I prefer high protein. I like high
and
protein, and
and what
I
does
like
that
high.
what does that mean to you? Because
So,
high protein for some people is 200 grams.
no, high protein for me is like 375 grams. Granted,
Okay.
I'm 200 pounds right now, so close to 200, two grams per pound of body weight is
Yep.
what I consider pretty high. So I don't like the 1 gram per pound. 1 gram per pound is a
I
little
don't
too low
think
for me.
any of those rules apply, man. I think it's literally you just go by digestion and you go by the individual. I think that's how you have to
Yeah.
do it. Like I've done higher protein in the past. When I was working with Blue Taylor, I did as high as 600 grams a day.
Wow.
Yeah, and I have pretty. I got an iron stomach, man. I can digest anything, but I can tell you it's
Yeah.
just a waste of money. There's just really no point in doing that. I'm growing better now on 400 or 500 grams than I was at 6.
Yeah.
So I think it just comes down to the individual. It's about what you respond to, what you can digest, It's a big part.
Mhm.
I think a lot of the reasons we see guys with distended stomachs and poor waist control is nothing compound related for the most part, unless they're just stupid. I think it's mostly digestion related and mostly, stomach control. And if you're eating 16 ounces of protein a meal 7-8 times a day, good luck holding your stomach in.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're Ronnie Coleman,
Yeah, and
I
even
don't.
then, towards the end there.
Yeah. Uh, So yeah, I'm on like right now I do like 10 ounces per meal for the most
It's a good
part
amount.
for 5 minutes. I mean, and one of my meals is egg whites, so it's not really ounces, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I have one beef meal where I pull back the amount of it's 8 ounces for my beef meal, so
Mm-hmm.
it's a bit smaller there. So really only three meals that are 10 ounces right now of just chicken, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But
And how many meals a day are you doing right now?
right now just five. I was on
Five.
six earlier, but just five right now. So
It's a
yeah,
good amount.
but
Because then your meals actually, because, I think you're like me and you like to eat. So then your meals can actually be a bit bigger when you do that.
yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I
I've
have like
noticed.
if I have a small 600-calorie meal, it's not cutting. So it's not.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that's the worst. Like, I would really rather. It's hard to say though, because in prep, I do think there is something to say about spacing out your meals a lot to keep muscle protein
Mhm.
synthesis ramping throughout the day. But it would be kind of nice to have, 11, 12 ounces of meat and like 300 grams of rice versus 150 and 150. But at the end of the day, it all sucks. So you just do what you got to do at that point.
Yeah,
And
but
so
yeah,
your protein's around like 400, you say, or 350.
375 right now.
Okay. And so what would carbs and fats look like then?
So carbs right now. Whenever I'm pushing, I push carbs really high, so I do as high as I can. The rest of my calories just go into that. Fats I keep around 50, if not lower. I run very low fats, so I do just because I don't I don't feel bad with low fats. I don't feel good with high fats. I don't feel bad with high fats. Fats are kind of like neutral to me. So
Yep,
if I don't need them, I'm not gonna.
I would
And
100% agree.
yeah, being on PEDs, we don't need that kind of
Yeah.
support as much, I guess you'd say.
I tell people
Certainly,
fats are good for endogenous hormone production, and if you have exogenous hormones, why would you need to worry about that?
yeah. So
And you
there's a
do need
little
a
bit.
little bit for your EFAs and stuff, but I mean fish
Yeah,
oils. You just take fish oils and you're covered.
exactly. Yeah. So right now, my carbs are. I'm pulling back. I'm just now starting to pull back, so I am after a 16-week push back
Mm-hmm.
up to 210. So I did so pulling back on carbs, cutting back in half. I'm down to like 350 right now. I was up around like 600 carbs every day,
That's a
keep
good
those
amount.
fats low, of course. But
It's a good amount for your
yeah,
body weight for sure. For context, I was 230 on the dot pretty much this morning. Protein I think is right at 5. Carbs are at like 850. Fats are at 80. I want to say, and that's another thing that I was going to say about the fats. So it seems to me, and this is weird. I've always been a really low fat guy myself. There were off season diets where I'd be as low as 20. And I really like doing stuff like Lantus and Humalog and things like that, so that definitely plays into it. But I've actually noticed the more muscle that I add to my frame, the better my body responds to fats.
really.
But just not around the workout. I have no fat. Like all of my fat is in my last 2 meals of the day. I
Mhm.
have 93.7 beef for meal 6, and then I have 30 grams of nut butter in meal 7.
Okay.
And then all the
Uh,
other fats are just from chicken and stuff like that.
yeah. Oh, so do you count the trace proteins and everything like that then?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's just on Chronometer. It's just everything is tracked. He doesn't list like what my macros are. I just have a meal plan, but I like to track it too, just to see what it is because I'm curious.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I track all the trace stuff as well. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's some people that don't like to do that, but I like to
I just
track.
like to see it. I just like to see it. I just like to see it. I want to know what's going on. I want to be informed about it. Which in a prep context, maybe you don't want to have to think about it as much. But in off season, it's kind of time to experiment and try some stuff. And if you have a relationship with your coach where it's a bit collaborative, then that can be the time to do that, especially because you can be like, hey, what do you think about doing this change here? Maybe we swap out chicken for turkey, see how it digests, something like that. And if you're
Yeah.
actively tracking
Yeah.
things, you can do stuff like that.
Yeah. That's exactly. I think that's a skill that clients need to have
Mm-hmm.
themselves whenever working with coaches. And you mentioned having a coach that is collaborative, I guess you could say, or is able to do that with their
Mm-hmm.
client. I guess what's your thought on coaches that aren't like that, or or like my way is the way and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
it depends. It depends on where it's coming from. So like I've been working out since I was 15. I'm 25. I've been working out for 10 years, but I would say training is probably the area where I know the least on. Funnily enough, dieting is probably the area where I've spent the least amount of time on, but I would say it's probably where my knowledge sits the most, because I always was fat. I've had to play around with and experiment with my diet a lot just to get my body to respond in both the context of growth without putting on body fat, and then also fat loss without losing muscle or flattening out like crazy, stuff like that. So when it comes to the diet, I like to be a little collaborative, and especially my stomach on one hand will high protein will not mess me up, but then I'm also very sensitive to certain other things. So it kind of has to be collaborative in a certain sense. Like I'm allergic to egg whites, I'm allergic to eggs, so that limits me in a lot of aspects. Certain foods that other people digest perfectly, I have a problem with. And sometimes certain amounts, like oatmeal, I'm good at 50 grams exactly. If I go to 53 grams, I'm not digesting it well. Blueberries, I'm good under 100 grams. Once I break 100 grams, ruined for the rest of the day. So it depends on the individual. And I think if you're pretty dialed into, like I haven't had a cheat meal in probably 8 weeks, 10 weeks. I've had two cheat meals since the show, and they were both sushi. Like, I mean, I've not had a burger or fries or nothing. I just haven't wanted to. And that's also part, as I do get older, I do notice digestion will get really messed up from stuff like that. I didn't even go that crazy the day after the show, but my digestion was bad for like a day or two. And it was sushi, but there was some fried stuff in there, fried sushi. But so where the client has the most knowledge on, I think that they can potentially be a little bit collaborative, especially in the off season. I think the off season is the time to do that, right? But when it comes to areas where the client is not as knowledgeable, like I think most guys have absolutely no idea what they're talking about when it comes to PEDs or when it comes to training. I think diet's not that complicated, honestly. It's meat and rice for the most part, maybe some whey protein, but for the most part, diet's pretty simple. When it comes to the compounds and when it comes to the compound lifts and stuff like that, both compounds, I think that the coaching is a lot more valuable there. You got to have a watchful eye on your training, and you got to have a watchful eye when it comes to your health. So that can be, and to that point as well, when it comes to compounds and stuff, I think that you do have to be collaborative there, because otherwise someone's going to be uncomfortable. If the coach is pushing too hard, that's going to make the client uncomfortable. And if the client is pushing too hard, that's going to make the coach uncomfortable. We've all heard stories of guys like Shelby Starnes. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. That's a girl name though, right?
He's probably got he's probably got the muscle mass of a girl now, but this is old school coach Shelby Starnes. He's commonly now he I believe at the beginning of his career he was a good coach, but towards the end there, it would not be uncommon for him to have 300-400 clients and for him to have girls on hundreds of micrograms of T3, hundreds of micrograms of Clen. We're talking 200 T3, 200 Clint. We're talking starting aldactone at like 4 weeks out. We're talking combining aldactone with diazide, with Lasix, with Bumix. We're talking about crazy shit. So that's a push.
200.
That's
I can't like. Where's your muscle mass going to be on that much T3? Like it's gone. Like 25. So yeah, that's.
I think you push the other stuff too. So it's like, I mean, you know, you put a female on a gram a week and they're probably going to hold on to everything, but they're also going to virilize like crazy.
Yeah. That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's
So with the collaborative thing, I think it's a fine line that you got to play, because as an athlete, you can have your limits and you should have your limits, but as a coach, you know, it's hard too, because I'm starting to get into coaching. I believe you are as well. You're trying to get into coaching a bit as well.
Yeah, I'm not so much doing the any competitors, enhanced competitors. I'm sticking with natural for now because my knowledge with NPC as nice.
That's how I prefer to do it. But I mean, it's hard to find guys that are natural nowadays. It's like pretty much anyone that comes to you is going to be on something, whether it be SARMs or just TRT. Man, as a coach, it's tough, right? Because on one hand, you have your perspective and you have your views when it comes to training, diet, enhancers, everything like that. But what we see as normal may not be considered normal to somebody. Like in my mind, I think, let's say we have an individual who's about 200 pounds. Let's say they're 5'10", 10% body fat, kind of a starting slate. It would not be uncommon for that person to be on a grand total. I don't think that's unreasonable. Maybe that's 500 tests, 500 mass, something like
Yeah.
that. 500 tests, 500 MVP. I don't see that as unreasonable. But you would have a lot of people say that's abuse because it's not TRT.
Yeah.
So as a coach, you're in a tough spot there because you realistically, I mean, that's probably, I would say that's probably about the amount. And we're also assuming this is not this person's first time either. Like they're 210,
Yeah.
they're 200 pounds at 5'10", or 10% body fat. They got a decent physique on them. Not national level, probably not state level, but they have some muscle. I would say about a gram a week is what a person like that's going to require to like make substantial progress. We're talking about like putting on like 10, 15 pounds of muscle a year. So as long as diet is perfect, health supplementation is perfect, training is perfect, I don't see a problem with that. But then you have some people that are going to say anything more than 500 is ridiculous, or that 1,000 isn't enough. That they need to be on 2, 3 grams, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So as a coach, it's tough. I think collaboration has to be a part of it all in some sense, but it's tricky for sure.
I agree with that. So I do. I agree with everything there, especially with the P. How I would go about it personally with the P. I only have one client that's on performance enhancement drugs right now, and it's just a test, just because he's really getting started. He sent me his blood work, and his test out was down to like 290 or something. I was like, listen, you can. He had tests on hand, and I was like, you can. It's up to you. It's the risks. I'm going to tell you what I do if I were personally you with how low it is. You're walking around like a female right now, half a man. If you are willing to do this and you want to do it for the rest of your life, because you're with how low that is, you're going to be on for the rest of your life. So I would start out like 250 because he wanted to put on. So I was like 250 is going to be plenty.
Yeah, for sure.
Going from hypogonadal up to like regular testosterone levels,
and even just being stable, because like we were talking about earlier with endogenous hormone production. And I was just helping a friend with some blood work recently. He was thinking about maybe starting TRT. He ended up deciding not to, just because he was like 400 or 500, and he was like, I don't want to deal with all that. And but if you're not willing to do something once a week at that point, I would say you shouldn't. But anyways, I completely forgot where I was going with that.
Oh no, I know we started with. We can circle back to where I was at. So with the coaching thing, with the diet. Yeah. So I started that. So I was just on 300 for that whole entire thing, and that could have been honestly been the thing that really helped me blow up along with the diet, because I put on a lot of size within like the next. It was only like 16 weeks long, something like that, where I was pushing the food before I started to pull back, and I went my first prep back after that actually. But my test levels were, because I got it tested prior, of course, and they were down.
Good.
They were down low. They were like 390 or something like that.
So that was before everything was 390.
Yeah, before the test.
That's crazy. And just looking at how you looked at that age and stuff, I would not have assumed that. So that's why I think it's so important for people to get blood work just to know where they're at.
I think part of that was due to my lifestyle habits at the time. It was right after my first year in university, and I was working a lot as well. So my sleep was very poor, and
you just jogged my mind where I was going with that. Endogenous test levels. So we need certain macronutrients, mainly fats, for endogenous test production, right? But when you get blood work as a natural and you look at your test levels, that is simply a snapshot in time. So let's say you have somebody who is natural, their test levels are 500. You have somebody who's on TRT, their test levels are 500. The person on TRT, their levels are always going to be like this. It's going to be like 500. Yep. Whereas when you're natural, it's like, okay, this is a snapshot, 500. Sometimes it's 400. Sometimes it's 300. Maybe it's 600 some days. It just depends. But yeah, so you were at a low point. You weren't like crazy low. You weren't like 100 or 200 like I've seen some guys, and myself, I was around the high twos if I remember correctly. But yeah, so that's good. So you probably got a really nice boost out of that 300. It was just from being somewhat on the low end there. I think that was a very intelligent way to go about it, instead of rushing to 500. And I do think some guys might need that much to start off with, but you weren't one of them.
Yeah, it was perfect. So it was, and yeah, I think I went from like 150 or so up to like 180 whenever I peaked out. I was fluffy, of course, but
yeah, we all are when we're young too.
Good. Yeah.
That's another thing that sucks about being our age, is like a certain part, which your condition was very, very good for your first show. I believe it was much better than my condition from my first show. But for a lot of us, we're not going to be able to get that skin texture and that graininess just until we get older. And it sucks, but that's part of what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. My midsection gets freaking dick skin peeled for whatever reason,
Yeah,
but yeah, it could have been because of how low my test was as well. I wasn't
could have
having
been.
as much aromatization, holding on as much water, which could be a reason for that. Because even for my prep, the highest my test went was 300.
Yeah.
I kept it under the whole entire time. So,
And are you still a high, or rather a low aromatizer, or do you notice that's changed?
uh, it's hard to give that answer because I'm really just now starting to try to push doses a bit more since I
But
just
just
finished
just
shooting.
comparatively, like, have you noticed you need less or more of AIs as the years go on?
So it's probably remained about the same, to be
Okay.
honest.
Because for
Because
me personally, I've noticed that, when I was around that 10 to 12 and I put on that body fat, like I said, I had natural gyno. So I was a
oh yeah,
very, very high aromatizer all my life. And when I first started TRT at 200, like every other week or whatever it was, I got a little bit of gyno from that. Now I can do as much of a gram with no AI, and I'm good.
you know, I think I agree with that. It could also be because of your body's able to utilize the hormones a bit more, I guess you could say, with the more muscle mass they have, and it's
Yeah.
also adapted to it a bit more. So, like, yeah, if I were to just go straight to like 500 back then, rather than going to 300, I probably would have noticed a lot more water weight and bloat and stuff like that. But if I were to go to 500 today, it'd be like TRT. It'd be like a cruise dose for the most part. So it feel like a cruise.
Yeah,
So
and that's another thing
yeah,
people get misconstrued a lot. They think that they're going to be able to cruise on 75 a week and keep the size that they put on a gram. It's just not how it is, man. You're going to probably have to push that just a little higher. Nothing crazy, but there are some people. I remember, you know who Tanner Tattered is? I remember seeing this guy
yeah,
pop up.
yep.
Dude, this guy
That's
would like cruise on Trin and stuff, and I just think it's the most idiotic thing in the world.
that's not
Like,
a
that's not a
cruise.
cruise. It's not a cruise. It's hepatotoxic. It's renal toxic. It's not a cruise. And my idea of a cruise is you are coming down to restore or improve blood markers. So that's going to
That's
be person independent. Like, some people, their blood markers are going to be okay on a gram. Probably still shouldn't do that, but it is what it is. Most people, I think, anything under 500 is probably good for a cruise.
That's what I think. Normally, whenever I come down to a cruise, it's like 300, 350. So
It's
right now, at
respectable.
least, that's where it's at.
Yeah,
So
I think that's a good place to be for most people in terms of getting back health while also being able to still maybe even drive progress, not just hold progress. And then
yeah,
there are other things too that are anything that is not hepatotoxic, renal toxic, or is going to skew lipids. I think is fair game makers. So things like growth, things like insulin, things those are the main ones. L-carnitine, SLU, all these different things that are coming out now. I think anything
yeah.
that, and some of those things can actually improve your health markers too.
Let's say I think retatrutide right now is
Yeah.
just really big on the craze. That'd be a big
Do
one
you have
for.
any experience with that or no?
So just recently actually.
Yep,
So
same.
like I just took my first pin a week ago.
Oh,
So I
okay.
can't.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you're a big eater like me, naturally, it's gonna be very good for you. I've not gone past 1 milligram. I started out at half a milligram. It wasn't quite enough, but now I'm doing 150 a day, which I think is like right at a milligram a week, and it's great. You just basically you just don't think about food. I don't know how you are when it comes to like your appetite, but I will be constantly thinking about food. I want to eat. I
Yeah.
want to eat. I want to eat. And this basically just makes it to where an hour or two will go by and you're like, oh, it's time to eat. Awesome. And then your appetite is not blunted so much to where that's a problem. Like I said earlier, I'm eating well over 6,000 calories, 850 carbs, like, I mean, a lot of food, 7 meals a day.
Yeah.
No problem. I could easily eat 8 meals. I could eat 9,000 calories if I needed to. And then another thing with it, which I don't know when you got your last blood work was, but for me it's been a while, unfortunately. It's stuff that's been going on. I've not been able to get it nailed down. But I'm curious to see how my cholesterol improves with retatrutide because supposedly people are seeing vast improvements in their HDL, LDL, and triglycerides in retatrutide. And it also, the impact it has on your insulin sensitivity is wild, dude. Um,
That's what I've been hearing. Yeah.
I had never done growth until this past off season, and that was something that got added in. And my blood sugar started to go to shit. I was waking up with like 110, 120 fasted right
Oh
now.
wow.
And this was back when my carbs were at like 600, 500.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm waking up with 80s, 70s.
That's
Like,
real nice. Yeah,
yeah.
that's good.
And there's
Yeah.
Atlantis in play on training days and stuff like that, but it was back then too. So
Okay.
it's great for
Yeah.
that. I see it. I mean, the only real side effects would just be, motility. Could potentially have some GI issues if you take too much.
Yeah.
And it does increase it can increase your resting heart rate a little bit. So if you notice that trend up, that's probably what that's from. It bumped mine up by like 5 points, but I was under 70, so it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
Other than the resting heart rate thing and the motility, it seems to have no side effects, which is very new, so we don't know that for sure, but
Yeah.
it
Exactly.
seems,
Yeah.
yeah.
My buddy ran it. And the main reason I wanted to give it a shot was because so I'm gonna start pulling back here now after this little push. Just try to drop some body fat really quickly, and I was like, well, my friend recommended it to me. He just finished his prep, the one that just finished North American. He was
Oh, he looked
running.
great, by the way.
Yeah, I think he pushed up to 4 milligrams per week. So
That's high, but
he said,
I've heard higher.
oh yeah, definitely. I'm Jordan Peters right now. He posted on his story. You know Jordan Peters, that big guy.
It's gonna be a
Yeah.
lot if it's Jordan. Yeah, it's gonna be a high
He's,
number.
he's doing 7 every week right now. So
Oh, my
yeah,
wallet. Oh, my wallet aches just thinking about that.
he has the money, so he does.
Oh, I
But
know he does. Yeah, but
yeah,
I love Jordan Peters. By the way, that was, other than John Meadows, I would say that was probably like where I first really kind of learned how to train. Would be from Jordan
okay.
Peters. Love Jordan Peters.
Yeah, I wish I found those guys sooner on because I ended up getting into
You're still crazy
the
young
work.
though. How old are you right now? You're younger than me. I don't remember by how much. I'm 25. You're what, 22?
Yeah, I'm 22.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, dude,
Perfect.
you're in a great spot for 22. Like, I remember when I was your age, I was thinking like, you get quicker, quicker, quicker. I gotta learn more. I gotta do more. Everything. No, dude, you're in a perfect spot. I'm still considered super young. Like, our primes as
Yeah,
bodybuilders are like 35, man. 30.
pretty much.
So
Yeah.
we got
Yep.
all the time in the world.
Doesn't feel like that most of the time, but yeah,
I
you're
know.
right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But
But going from
feel
there,
where
I
we're
would
going.
just say, what does your overall off season look like right now? So you said you just got done with a 16-week push. What were some
Yeah.
highlights of that? What did that look like? Just details for that.
So this has been a 2-year off season now since my last show.
Oh, okay.
Which, yeah. So this is going to be the end of this off season. This was the last push. I need to
So
get back to
you're not going to extend it to 2.5 or 3, like 2's the cutoff?
the two's where I want to cut it off at because I want to get back. I feel like there's a need to get back to a really depleted and stage
Yes,
lean state to
100%.
really I've made amazing progress these
Yeah.
past 2 years. I've made good progress, but it's getting to a point, especially this last push. I was supposed to continue this last push for another say 8 weeks is what I was looking at
Mm.
originally, but I got to a point to where the food just wasn't going down, and inflammation was getting too much. My body weight's not going up anymore, and it's insulin resistance was starting to occur. So it's like, okay, we're starting to get to a point here where it's like we need to reset.
Yep. You're making a
I'm
great call there, man. I think my last off season before this one, before the second show, I don't remember if it was 2 years or 2.5 years, but I can tell you at the year and a half mark, I started to regress, not progress.
exactly yeah.
I stayed at the same body weight, but I got softer and I got a little smaller. If I would have cut it off at the year and a half mark, and also mentally, I know mentally it was just because I was not on the ball with everything. After about that year to year and a half, things started to slip for me. But that was probably what mainly played into it. But I think there's something to be said about getting lean and catching a rebound every year to year and a half, something like
Yep.
that. So I
I
think
agree
you're
so.
making a great call with that, and especially, I think there's something also to be said about just the skill of being a competitor, of getting on stage.
I
You
agree
got to know what you
yeah.
got to know what to do, right? Like, it's going to take a few shows under your belt to truly be comfortable up there.
Yep. Yeah, and especially the more you do it, it's not so much even just like the physical side and whatnot. Like you said, you be comfortable. So
Yep,
being comfortable, being uncomfortable is the best way to put it, I guess you could say.
100%.
Especially going through a prep. The more you do the preps, the more you do the diets. I've only done one actual prep, but I've done plenty of pretty hard diets. So I have kind of
Yeah,
throughout the top, I've done pretty hard diets. Uh, the more you diet down like that, the more it's not the easier it becomes, but the more mentally stable, or I guess the more
you learn how to
what's the
deal.
word?
You learn how to cope,
Exactly.
and
Yeah, exactly.
also with another thing. some people are truly able to get diced their first show. And actually, I do want to pull up your Instagram here if you don't mind and show that because I think you got in pretty damn good condition for your first show.
Yeah, I killed myself, that's for sure.
Like you got quite a bit leaner than I was able to, I believe. Oh no, this is okay. So that's your old account actually. Yeah. So like this is super super good condition for a first show. I don't know if you have where like a back shot or anything, but from what I remember, your glutes were in for sure. I've seen like you post throwbacks and stuff, and like your glutes were in. My glutes were not in on my first show at all, and I killed myself on the diet too. Like I got, but anyways, this is really really good condition for your first show, and
Yeah.
none of us are ever big enough. None of us ever truly look how we want to look on our first show, but I would say all things considered, that's a pretty good first showing, especially with how young you were there. You were what 19 there?
19, yeah. I wanted to do a competition as teens, but made
Yeah,
sure I did it. Got
yeah, that's great, man. So
that.
you got a great foundation off of that going into a
Mhm.
2 year off season to now kind of do it all again and just come back better. So it's a great.
Kind of not. We can talk about that a little bit for my
Okay.
first show. So, I coached myself up to 5 weeks out, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was going good. I went from 180 down to about like 150, and I had,
Mm-hmm.
the Christmas tree back. I had striations, on my delts everywhere. I was shredded up top. I was shredded at least.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that wasn't in was my glute. My
Yeah.
glutes, my legs were in. The only thing that was not in was my glutes.
Yeah.
And mentally, I was like, well, I'm 5 weeks out. I wonder if I need a coach. So I picked up a coach at 5 weeks out. All I was on at this point was, I think I was on maybe 40 micrograms of clen and 300 of test. And that's all I needed at that point. Anyways, I hired this coach and he put me on T3. The amount, I forget, but
Too much, most
I, ju-
likely.
I just did what he told me,
Yeah.
and within 5 weeks, I went from 150. I think I got the whole way down to like 119 or something like that.
You were 119 in that picture.
In the stage shots, I was probably closer, or in the canned up shots, I was probably closer to like 125. But
Really,
I lost a shitload of muscle. I
dude.
went from yeah.
I know you're looking back and you're like, this is a nightmare, but dude, you are going to look crazy with the actual guidance of a coach the whole way. Because I would not have guessed you were that light there. You hold your muscle
Yeah.
really good. You've got very round and full muscle bellies to be that light and look like that. I would have guessed you were 150 in those pictures.
I wish. I wish.
So you're gonna look. It's gonna be
Yeah.
night and day. Yeah, that's
But
good. I was 170 in my first show, and I think my upper, like you said, my upper body was in probably 20 pounds above. I think for you, you said it was like 175 or something. Your upper body was in. My upper body was probably in at 205, but I had to kill another 30 pounds off of myself just to get my quads and my glutes in.
yeah.
So I
But
think
I
that when we do the more shows we do too, I think the easier it will be to kind of evenly get the body fat off. It seems to be.
oh definitely. Oh yeah.
So that's another reason to compete more frequently.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely
But
more frequently than
so that coach got, or you got a hold of that coach rather, and he put you on some T3, probably too much, because he had you for 5 weeks. He's like, I've got to throw this at it, blah blah blah. But so how did that progress from there after that?
So after that, I stuck with him for another 2 weeks. So I was pretty upset with how I showed up to the show. Even though you say the pictures look good, for me in my head mentally,
Oh yeah,
it was it wasn't the best. So it wasn't because I definitely lost a ton of muscle mass, especially in the upper body. So I went from benching I started that prep benching like 315 for something, and then I ended that prep not even be able to bench. I don't know, like whatever 35 plus the 45 is on each side. So I wasn't
oh
even doing
wow.
130. It was like 105 or something. I could barely do that. I
Oh,
was,
so you mean the bar in a 35?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
damn.
I was like an Auschwitz victim
Oh
coming out of that
yeah,
show.
that's crazy, man.
So I stuck with him for like another 2 weeks, and I held down the post show rebound really well actually because I had a photo shoot 4 weeks after that.
That's good.
So I held it down, and I only gained like maybe 6 pounds that month after, which
Okay.
is very uncommon for people coming out of the first show. So
Yeah, I would
I was
say
pretty
with
happy
how
with
much.
that.
So was there a point after that six to where you kind of let the reins off just a little bit? And I'm not saying like cheat meals and stuff. I mean just like pushing food that's good, like chicken rice, etc. What was your weight gain because it sounds like you had a rebound, kind of similar situation to what I just did with my show. I had a rebound where I put on over the course of like 12 weeks. I think it was about 15 pounds, pretty slow. And then now I got the reins let off a little bit, and I added another 15, and conditions stayed pretty tight. Did you have a similar situation like that where you added that 6 pretty slow and controlled, and then you had another
Yeah.
burst where it was still pretty lean though?
So it would have been like that, but we got blood work done, of course, right
Mm-hmm.
after, and we pulled out the thyroid. My thyroid was low, which was expected,
Yeah.
but it was expected to recover as well. So we started pushing food, and then I kept pushing the food, and my body just kept getting softer and softer. So it did,
Mm-hmm.
and we kept going. So we did like 3 or 4 months down the line. We kept getting softer and softer. I go and look at my blood work again like 4 months later, and my thyroid still tanked.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it never really recovered. And at the time, we were like, well, it's still relatively, soon to post show, so
Mm.
it's probably still just, tanked because we just finished the show.
But
Well,
how much weight would you have been up though by that point? You
at
think
that
you were?
point, I think I was around 155, 160, about four
Yeah,
months
because
after.
a lot of
So
that thyroid recovery is just going to come along with weight gain as well.
yeah,
As the weight goes on, your thyroid is going to start functioning better. I forget which process is a part of that, but yeah. So if I was up 20 pounds and my thyroid levels were still low, I would assume something's going on for sure.
yeah. So, well, we didn't assume that, and I ended up going my own way. I ended up working with my friend actually. I ended up because I started my prep with my friend, the guy that just competed at North
Oh,
Americans up
okay.
here. So I was like, okay, well, we're kind of what we're doing right now obviously doesn't look like it's working for me. I'm just getting
Yeah.
fatter. So I'm gonna, come over here, do what I was doing with my friend earlier, and kind of go with that. So for the next 5 months, we kind of like tried to push up a little bit, healthy, of course. And I got my blood work done after, so I kept on getting fatter and fatter, and it wasn't going good. So it wasn't. I got my blood work done almost close to, I guess, again. So this would be about 9 or 10 months after that show,
Okay.
and I hit up this guy named Josh Gold, who's a UK bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason I got the blood work done, and he wanted to see where I was at and what was going on. My thyroid was still tanked, so thankfully, he kind of like pointed that out to me, and he kind of like saved me in that sense. He said, you should probably look into thyroid replacement at this point. So I'm on thyroid year round right now.
So,
My
and
thyroid never recovered.
when you say thyroid replacement, is that T4, T3, or T3 plus T4? What does that look like?
It's yeah, it's a basic 100 micrograms T4 and 25 of T3 year round, and that keeps
Okay.
me right in the optimal range. So
Oh,
it does. It's not
so
high, it's not low, it's optimal.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So your thyroid did get missed for because so 25 is not a lot by any means, but like for me that would be I only do T4 for replacement, and that's enough for me. I stay on the high end with thyroid. I'll do anywhere from 150 to right now I'm at 100 on T4. And if I was to add in
Mhm.
T3, I wouldn't want to go above 12.5 personally. For me, T3 just eats me alive like crazy quick. But it
Yeah.
sounds like for and now here's the thing though, if you're deficient in it, it will do the opposite. If you're deficient in T3, it will actually be anabolic, not catabolic.
Exactly. So that whole entire like first 10 months after that show, I hate to say I didn't make any progress, but I almost really didn't make much progress at all. And then I got that thyroid thing figured out. We got my body composition back into a good spot to start growing again because it was all out of whack. Uh, Even though I finished that show around like coming out of that show after the first month, I was probably around 130 pounds. And 9 months later, whenever I started working with Josh Gold, I was about 50 pounds heavier, which would be about right for 10 months later. I guess you could say I was around 180, but my body composition was just straight shit. So we
If you had to
got it cleaned up.
guess, if you had to guess percentage on that, which again, we're not doing in body pods or shit like that. But if you just had to guess what percent you were at that 180, what do you think it was?
Probably around like 20, I'd say like 23 or so, low 20s. So
Okay,
like there
so
was no ab
so
definition.
a little higher for bodybuilding, but like not bad by any means. Because some people will hear high body fat and they think like 25, 30.
Yeah, probably around like 20. I mean, there was no ab definition. There was no
And if you're like
no.
I think you're like me, and you're probably highly self critical. So if you're saying 20, it's probably really more like 16. So,
Maybe. I don't know.
but yeah,
uh, Anyways, he got me fixed up, and from there, after getting my thyroid fixed up, things really started to take off.
nice.
Added in my second injectable for that next push, which was just mass drawn. I ran like, I don't know, 450 tests with like 300 mass done throughout the summer.
Oh,
That was enough to
thank
really.
God. Thank God you're not one of these guys that does like 100 tests and like 1,000 master run. I think that shit's
No,
so
no,
dumb.
never, never, never,
I
never,
think
never.
that shit's so stupid, man. John Jewett, I love him to death, but he's put out some things there and people just go wild with that.
Test is the best. I don't
Oh
think
yeah, dude.
so.
For 100%. So then that was kind of like your first like real experience of kind of delving into things and pushing. How long was that time period, and what did that look like for you?
So I kept going. I just kept going. So I did the whole summer. So I did on that 450 test, and like it was like 300 mass or something like that. And I think I put on, I for the first like month or so I actually maintained the same weight, but my body composition just kept getting better and better and better. I was getting shredded, so I was at the same weight.
Yep.
Then after that I started to put on the weight again, and I went up like 10 pounds. And I went and got blood work done, and I was like, well, the only thing that's like bad here right now is my cholesterol went
Cholesterol.
down a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's still in range. So I ended up like, I that's whenever I really like saw John Jewett, and I saw how much he was pushing. I was like, okay, let's go up to like, let's try 700 tests and like 600 mass. So then I did that for another like 4 months, up until like November probably. And then I put on, I got up to 180 again, but this time way better composition. Actually, how it should have been the first time. And I did try a little bit of Anadrol in there as well. I did
Yeah.
like 4 week little stint of
Dude,
Anadrol.
you're strong as shit naturally. So how was that?
It was fun.
Oh,
It
dude,
was
I just
fun.
had a recent experience with that. I didn't do above 50, and it was 25. I think it was 25 for 2 weeks, and it was 50 for 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
I had to stop. I was getting strong to the point to where I was gonna break something. Like
Yeah.
I was inclining 130s. I was doing RDLs with like 5 plates, which is a lot for me. But man,
Yeah.
that stuff's
It
fun.
was,
But you got to be careful with it, and probably not super productive for us with appetites and things like that. But fun for
fun.
sure.
I mean, it never hurt my appetite, so I didn't have any issues there, and my appetite was sky high anyways.
Yeah,
So
and exposure is low too, because you said what, like 4 weeks?
yeah, that's all it was. So
Yeah, I mean, four
yeah,
weeks. You can do anything for 4 weeks.
yeah. But then so around that November point, I pulled back because I was like, well, my blood markers are still great, but I was like, I've been on for a while and I need to cruise for a little bit. So I cruised for about like 6 7 weeks,
Yeah.
and then I was like, well, I've been doing mass. I was talking with Josh Gold again. I was on and off with him for this
Okay.
whole entire process. So I was, and he mentioned EQ. Initially, he was really against like EQ, but he's kind of like changed his perspective, and
Yeah.
especially with training, he's changed his perspective as well. He started using it himself as well. But so I was like, okay, EQ. I like the sound of it. I know Jay Cutler was a big fan of it. A lot of guys used it back in the day. So the next cycle, I really pushed it here, and this one only lasted for this push was about 16 weeks as well, only because I got food poisoning. But I managed to get my body weight up to a good point the first time where I actually got it up really high. I got up to about like 200 here, and I pushed tests up to probably around, I think it was like 800, either 800 or 900, getting up to that gram mark, and then EQ was around like 600, 750 for this,
That's good.
and
Yeah, that's
went with
respectable.
that. So.
Yeah, that's respectable, and a lot of people don't know that EQ is actually going to have aromatase.
Yep.
What is it? Metabolites in some people. A lot of people remember aromastane from back in the day. That's actually one of the metabolites of EQ. So yeah, people like to poo-poo on EQ because they say it's renal toxic. I don't even believe that. I've not looked into the studies, but I would assume this is another situation of people assuming that correlation is causation, right? So what does EQ do? It increases blood thickness, it increases blood pressure. What does that do? That leads to renal damage. I don't think that it is directly renal toxic. I think if your blood pressure is out of whack, you're going to get kidney damage. So if you're intelligent and you're using things like telmisartan, any other type of blood pressure medications that are required, I don't think EQ is going to have any skewing of blood work other than blood thickness, like we said. But yeah, I think the stuff's
Yeah.
fine. And in today's day and age, where people are pushing things like Masteron and Primobolan that are highly going to skew lipids, something like an EQ can be great. And
Yeah.
your ratios there were good, because since EQ is going to downregulate aromatase with that what is it, the A, not aromasin, but the anti-estrogen metabolite. It's going to downregulate that, so you don't want to be doing, let's say, 300 tests to 600 EQ. You'll probably crash your estrogen.
Yeah.
So how you were doing like 800-900 there and then 600. That's good. That's intelligent design, I think.
And that felt amazing. So it did. I was like a racehorse in the gym. I could
Yeah.
just keep going. That was the first time I ever felt that. I was like, this is, why wasn't I on this
Yeah.
before? I
And
was
and
like,
like for example with Lance Armstrong, blood doping, EPO, stuff like that. What does that do? It increases blood thickness. Having
yeah,
thicker blood to a point within range is going to increase performance. So long as you keep an eye on blood pressure, send it.
yeah. But yeah, it was all good. So that lasted. I only lasted that for about 16 weeks. I would have done longer because I was feeling really great, but I got food poisoning, and that like I dropped like 15 pounds in like 5 days from food poisoning. And I tried to come back, but I wasn't coming back from it simply put.
Yeah.
My body wasn't responding anymore. So I was like, okay, we're not. The body isn't doing its thing anymore. So let's just go into a mini cut and clean up because I was getting pretty fluffy with how hard I was pushing food. Uh, the peak of that bulk, if you look at my Instagram, there's a picture in like pink underwear, I guess you could say, maroon.
Yeah.
That's next to. It should be from back. Let me see here real quick. I'll let you know where it's at. It's next to. I'm doing like a sidearm and a mirror and a black shirt, and it's from like
This one
it's
right here.
March 31st. I can't see your screen, but I'm guessing it's that
Oh,
one.
oh, right. That's right. You can't see my screen. Is it the rear relaxed here?
What do you mean the rear relaxed?
Where your quarter turn in the rear shot.
Oh no, it's up further, so it is. Yeah, that's where I started the push at.
Okay, so but this one right here is wearing in a pair of white underwear versus pink on the right, which
Yeah.
is what you're talking about, right?
The side chest is where I peaked at, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
up a bit further.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Should be.
This right here, I remember this. Yeah, yeah. This is
Yeah.
where I commented the off season is a magical time.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. So 25 pounds since January.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That is super respectable off season conditioning, and that's as heavy as you got right there.
That right there. That's the biggest I got. So it was
Yeah,
for the
that's
year.
that's good, man. You did not overdo it by any means. Super full. I can tell that biceps are going to be a strong point. Rear delts, unlike most people who don't train the rear delts, clearly you do. Legs are good. I think when you cut all this down, it's going to look pretty good. What division are you looking to do this time? Are you jumping straight into the open, or are you going to do classic again?
If I get down to so my classic weight cap for my height is 182, so I can get down there definitely. So since I can get down to the weight cap, since I haven't capped it yet, I think I'll try classic, and maybe I'll do two divisions. Maybe I'll do
I'd
open as
recommend
well.
that.
But
So
yeah,
for my first show, I only did classic. For my second one, I did classic and open. Would highly recommend that. And the reason for that is just more stage time, and that depends on the
oh,
show, right?
oh
Like,
yeah, okay, yeah,
yeah, my first show that I did, I was probably on the stage for 10 minutes max. This second
yeah,
one, man, I shit you not, I was probably posing for at least 35 minutes. Like I'm talking actually being on stage posing.
yeah.
My legs the next day felt like I had done an 800-pound squat. It was absurd.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was crazy. But yeah, that's a decision I'm gonna have to make because at my height, my weight cap is 202, and I competed at 197.6 this past show.
You're two. What are you right now?
Right now I'm 230
Yeah,
fasting.
and from your rebound, I mean, you're putting on good size, so you are. So
Yeah, I don't know if
yeah,
I could make that weight again. And for the past show, there was no water manipulation at all. I was on a gallon and a half of water the day of the show, so there is that. Could mess with water, right? But I'm not big on that. I don't like diuretics. I don't like water manipulation for the most part. My first show, I did a 26-hour water fast, so I know what that's like.
yeah,
And I personally think that you just listen to your body when it comes to the divisions. If you're meant to be in classic, your growth is going to depict
yeah,
that. And I
yeah,
think for me, being, uh, I don't have bad shape, but I don't have the bird bones. You know what I'm saying? Like
mhm,
how some of these guys can be 170 pounds. And for example, like for you with your first show, I would have never guessed you were 120 pounds there. You look
yeah.
about 30 pounds heavier than you actually are at all times. And I still, in that heaviest shot there, you said you were what, 205?
Yeah, I think it was like 208, 209.
Yeah,
So
like
yeah,
you don't look 205 there. You look at least 225 there.
yeah,
So you're someone who carries that weight pretty well. You're pretty round. Classic is probably a good division for you. Whereas for someone like me, where I'm a bit more like I think I'm just a bit more meant for open. I need a lot of muscle to actually look impressive, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't think at 202 that's going to be a pro quality physique at all, and that would be the heaviest that I could do on stage.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm just going to do open.
That's the dilemma. My friend that came up competing north, because he was doing classic for the past 2 years, but his is actually, I think he's the same height as you, so I think his weight cap's 202 as well. But
Yeah.
he was 210 this time on stage, and I mean, he was peeled. You might not be able to
Yeah.
see it as much in his pictures, but his glutes were in, everything was in. He was peeled. And for him to get down to 202, he'd just be, sacrificing his body,
Yeah.
muscle mass at that point. So yeah, he's having to. He was forced to go into the open, I guess you could say. He wants
Yeah.
to go into the open, but if he could have done classic, he probably would have. But yeah, I think open's where he belongs, anyways. To be
Yeah.
honest, so
And I think most people belong in open, man. Like, classic is super popular, but most people are not classic.
yeah,
Most people are not. That division is so stacked. Like the amount of competition in that division is insane. Going into
yeah.
Olympia this year, Chris is gone, but classic is not dead by any means.
Not by far, no, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're gonna have to increase the weight cap again. Otherwise, they're gonna start losing athletes like we see with hers. I believe.
Or I was about to say, yeah.
I believe Ramon actually just said that he's gonna look to go to open soon as well.
I haven't heard Moan, but
There was an
I
interview he just did. It stuck out to me because somebody did an AI voiceover in English, and that freaked me out. I was like, "Oh my god, he learned English." But yeah, classic is the judging kind of perplexes me because, and judges have even said this, it's not actually classic bodybuilding; it's just bodybuilding with a weight cap.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Which kind of irks me, man, because I like the whole classic persona thing. I like the fancy posing. I like the certain things that come along with that. But it's basically just judged like open, and at that point, I'm gonna just do open. You know.
yeah. And to be honest, open's where I want to go. The only reason I compete in classic is because I'm still in that weight cap.
Because you
I
can.
want,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's because I can, but open's where I eventually want to go. So
Yeah, and it sounds like you've not pulled all the levers by any means. When it comes to diet, training, supplementation, everything, you still have a ton of room to explore things. So it's like how far off are you from your weight cap? You think you'll be? Because your weight cap's 180 something, right? I would not expect you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I could probably get down to 170, to be honest. So at least, yeah.
So you're only 22, right? I mean, do you want to stay that size? And then let's say you are able to turn pro in the physique to add 10 pounds to that. Would you want to limit your growth of that? Me personally, I wouldn't. Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't. That's one thing with me is I don't compete for the stage. I don't do this for the stage or do this for the judges. I'm in the gym to the same way I was whenever I was 15, 14 years old, and I was in there slamming my back against the squat bar. I'm in there to see. I'm in there to push my limits and see what I can achieve. And if it's going to hold me back and that, then no, not simply put.
100%.
No.
I hear these guys like Andrew Barry and all the other guys on the Think Big, podcasts like that. They say 90% or 99% of people would not compete if there was no Instagram or if there was no stage nowadays, and I agree with that so much.
Yeah.
And it's become a trend to compete, which is crazy. Like to me, all the stage is a display of what you've built in the off season.
Exactly.
It's a bookmark. That's all it is.
Pretty much.
And for me, I enjoy the off season more than anything. Like I like prep, I like that challenge, but man, I love to eat, I love to train hard, I love to sleep, and I like my routine. The off season is what makes me enjoy bodybuilding, and I think some people that compete too often will almost start to hate bodybuilding, and I think that's just they're just doing it to themselves. If you're doing 5 shows a year, first of all, your wallet, God help your wallet. Second of all, it just can't be fun, unless you're, if you're 35, you've been competing for 10 years and you're at a national level, you're hitting up show after show after show trying to turn pro. That's a different story. But if you're at our level, at a state level of competition, you should probably do a show once every year, maybe every 2, and grow. Spend most of your time in the off season, like you said, slamming your back against the barbell and just growing.
Yep, pretty much, yeah. And that's where I think it separates people that just do this for social media or just
I hate social
versus
media.
that actually love it. Yeah, because the guys that do it for social media, I mean, you won't see them in the gym passionate doing that kind of stuff that we did. I remember watching you train. You know, you're 19 years old. You're in there, you know, throwing dumbbells around.
Yeah.
Even though it might not have been correct,
Training
you were doing it
stupid,
because
but
you loved
training
it.
hard.
Exactly, yeah. And I was the same way. I was in there, you know, slamming my back against the squat bar, you know, trying to squat for 495 whenever I was 16, and you know, that it wasn't building muscle, but I loved
Oh
it,
yeah.
so I was doing it.
A good
But
example of that is this not this off season currently, but the one before. Uh, Anybody who's listened to this who's a member at the gym will know I had a phase of doing reverse grip bench press. I don't know if you saw this. I was reverse grip benching like with the talon grip like this underhand. I was reverse grip benching anywhere from 425 to 450 for sets of 8 to 12.
wow, yeah.
But here's the thing, I got no business doing that shit. I got no business doing that. I'm gonna tear a pec. I'm gonna tear a tricep. I'm gonna drop a bar on my neck, and it was all triceps, no chest. It's not productive for bodybuilding. It's cool, it's fun, but while I do think you should enjoy your training and fun should always be a part of it, there are also things that work and things that don't. And if
Yeah,
progression is the goal, ultimately that's the funnest thing to me is making progress.
yeah,
So if I
I
have to
agree.
sacrifice some things here and there for the sake of progress, that's overall going to lead to a more enjoyable outcome for me personally.
And it's not like you're sacrificing all your fun in training,
No.
because you're still gonna have fun training. I mean, but it's more you're making smarter choices to still have fun and still progress. And like you said, it's more fun that way because you wake up, you know, a month later and look in the mirror and, you know, flex your chest and be like, this wasn't here before. You know,
Yep.
it's fuller, it's bigger. So yeah,
Yeah, and just getting better at the skill of training too, because we were training
yep,
hard when we were that young, but it's like you can only train as hard as you know how to, and it's a
yep,
really really weird concept, and especially with me with getting with my new coach and him watching my training, I did not realize how hard I wasn't training. I didn't realize how much I had left in the tank until recently. Like
yeah,
I didn't really know what true failure was until a couple weeks ago, which is wild. Now I was close. I was sniffing it, and on certain things I knew what true failure was. Like on my chest, I knew what true failure was, but I did not
yeah,
know what true failure was until I did a rest pause set on the leg press where I'm doing 50 reps by the end of it. It's a different
yeah.
thing. It's a totally different thing, and also with that form being my calves touching my glutes. There's a
Oh
difference
yeah.
between failing within a full range of motion and failing within quarter reps. It's just not the same.
That's another big. That's something I've really started to work on. You know, just recently actually is more so dropping back on the weight that I'm using and focusing more on actually targeting the muscle, especially leg press is a good example because
Yeah.
look back like a year ago, you know, I was watching people like Jordan Peterson. I was like, all right, I got to really press this weight to grow. Yeah, I'd do like 8 plates each side or
Yeah.
something like that. And now I'm like, okay, let's get some depth here. Let's control it. Let's go slow. I'm, you know, failing with like 4 or 5 plates, so my legs are shaking,
Yeah.
progressing. So
Yeah.
it,
And the funny thing
yeah,
is, man, in the gym, you always see the people. I was talking to Johnny Pyrothru, you probably remember him. I was talking to him the
yeah,
other
oh yeah,
day. It's like there is a correlative thing, and you would never guess this. It's wild. The bigger the dumbbell being curled, the smaller the bicep.
I
Straight
mean,
up.
you're not wrong. So yeah,
You never see a guy with big arms curling 80-pound dumbbells. They're curling
no, you
20s,
don't. Yeah.
30s, 40s, and it's just wild. It's insanity. People will be leg pressing 8 plates with this much range of motion, and their legs aren't growing, yet they keep doing it. It's
Yep,
weird. You would
yep,
assume something's wrong at that point.
yeah.
I could talk for a whole nother hour about stupid shit I see in the gym every day. That's for sure.
I'm sure. Yeah, you.
uh,
I mean, you're an owner of the gym, so you're gonna notice it. You're in there all the time. So
is it like this in PA where, for some reason, not only do some people just bench press every single day, there are some people who do the same exact workout, exercise 1 to exercise 7, 7 days a week. Do you see
I think
that?
it's like that. I think it's like that everywhere. But
Okay. Because I thought it was
since
maybe
I'm
a mind parasite going around in my area, but apparently it's in the whole world.
no, but it also, I mean, up here at Powerhouse, it's a bit. I don't see as many of those people, of course, because it's more niche
Yeah.
bodybuilding atmosphere. There's a lot of people up here that there was this, you know, 50-year-old 50-year-old that came up to me on pre-pro that I was doing one day. He said, "Can I work in with you?" And he had his notebook there. I'm like, "You compete or something, or you track?" I asked him if he competed because he's tracking everything. He's like, "No, I just make sure I'm progressing." So there, people that go up here at Powerhouse are a bit more. They tend to be a little more dialed in, but you still get the crowd that's like a high school teenage crowd that comes in and fools around, or the old lady that comes in and doesn't really do anything, or even the middle-aged man that's standing there throwing around 10-pound dumbbells on curls and doing that every thing he's growing or something like that.
The funny thing is, though, as I've gotten older, I almost have more respect for the old man curling tens than I do for the 15-year-old curling hundreds. To a degree. To a degree. It's like, I like that intensity of the kid, but it's like, at the same time, man, like, there was this one time the other day. I was doing it, we just happened to be doing the same body part. I was doing curls beside a kid who, he has to be 105 pounds. Like, he's very, very thin. And he's curling, again, at 105 pounds, he's curling like 75s, using his whole body. Now, you don't really know if you want to call it a curl at that point, but he's using his whole body, and I'm over here using 25s, and my arms are 20 inches.
Yeah.
If that were me in that mind, because I've always wanted to learn with this, I've never thought that I know anything about this. If I was a 15-year-old kid at 105 pounds, and I saw a bigger guy beside me doing lighter weight, I would look down into these dumbbells, I would drop them on the floor and go get the pink dumbbells. like straight up. I just don't know how people can see, and it's the same with powerlifting too. Like, we've got some really strong powerlifters at the gym. We have them going about intelligent programming and intelligent ways of progressing their strength. Whereas then you have these other dummies who are literally bench pressing 5 days a week, calling themselves bench press specialists, yet they can't bench 300 pounds.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense to me. Like, why would you not ask questions? Why would you not want to learn and progress when apparently they want to progress, but they're not willing to humble themselves enough to ask questions?
Yeah, well, it's part of the young and dumb process as well, because we were all there at one point, bro. I was there. I know.
I wouldn't call 28 that young.
Huh?
I wouldn't call 28 that young, because some of the people I'm talking about are almost 30.
Oh, I gotcha. No, I'm talking like teenagers here. Yeah. No. But, yeah, because I remember whenever I was that age, I was progressing, so I didn't really think much to hit a standing point. So.
Yeah, that can be a thing with the genetics that I know a lot of people with good genetics that never do start to ask these questions because they just keep progressing, so they never need to. But then someone in like your situation where you have really good genetics, but you're not Phil Heath, obviously, right? So it's like you have enough genetics where it's like, okay, I can make really good progress at a really good rate, but I have just enough of a limiter where it actually makes me slow down to where I have to think to ask questions. I think that's a lesson, because you're going to be way better off that way, Because you actually get to learn. And you've already learned a ton from the sound of it. Like, those experiences of getting down to the 120s and having some bad situations happen, it sucks when it's happening to you. But, man, the lessons you learn from it and how you can apply it to not just bodybuilding but to life are wild. Like, everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that. Like, how that prep is going to teach you to handle your other preps is going to be wild. Like, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off in dividends, and it sucks that it had to happen. But at the same time, as long as you learn from it, there's no such thing as a mistake.
The one thing I've always been grateful for it is that I know that, because in order to diet down like that, those last few weeks, I went to what you have to go. So very, very mentally, I don't want to say unstable, but
no, it's unstable. Straight up.
You're going through some stuff. And to know that I was able to just put through that and keep going, and I've done it once is the best way I think I can put it. Is if you've done it, you can do it again. And I know I've done it, so I know I can do it again.
Yeah.
I don't have to go that far, because I know that I don't have to go that far again, but I know that if it ever comes to that point of going that far again, it's like
you'll be able.
I can. So yeah, exactly. So. Yeah. That's the biggest thing to take away from it, definitely.
So what's the just the final topic here? What's the plans looking like for competition here shortly?
So I'm not going to be competing this year. I'm pulling back right now. I'm going to finish out this little blast I have going on, and just going to pull off some body fat, and get ready. And I'm going to hold over the month of December, a little bit early into November there as well. Just going to hold there. Make sure blood work and everything's good with that. Then I'm going to start looking for a show there early next year, preferably one that's up here
Okay, so 2026 is the goal then.
2026 is the goal. Yep.
Yep, same here.
Yep.
Yep. I'm looking at August the 26th most likely.
I'm looking most likely. I'm thinking May. Actually, no, April. I got my months mixed up. April. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking at because they tend to have a lot up here. I mean, in Pittsburgh in general, they have tons of shows up here.
Yeah.
But May and April in general is whenever the shows seem to really start picking up, and you can find them pretty abundant. So that's where I'll be looking to get back on stage and then rebound out of there if I'm not already rebounding. Because if I'm early, the goal may honestly be to be early, like 4 weeks prior.
When you're ready, you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, if I'm ready 4 weeks prior, I'm not going to this show expecting to, win a pro card or anything. I'm just going to get to that point of being.
You just want to do better than you did last time, and I can tell you will. No matter what, you've already won that goal. So.
If I'm ready at like 4 weeks out, chances are what I'm going to start doing is I'm actually going to start rebounding from there, and I'll get on stage. I'll get on stage in a state of growing again.
Yeah, quote unquote growing into the show.
Growing into the show, I guess you would say. So that's what it's looking like right now.
And I don't think that's crazy at all, by the way. I think if your prep is done intelligently, that's almost how it should be. Now, for most people, I don't think that's going to be 4 weeks, but you can definitely set it up that way. For most people, the last 2 weeks of contest prep should be high food, should be low cardio. Like, I don't want to say off-season territory, but it should be a good chunk up. Like, my last week going into the show, I was on 5,000 calories a day in contest prep.
Oh, yeah. Especially someone that I've really enjoyed watching this past year. I've watched him for a while, so I have. But, I mean, if you go back to some of his older videos, too, and see his old off-season, it's nice to see his progress. But Jordan Hutchinson.
Oh, yeah, man. He's actually an NC guy, I just found out.
Yeah. He's amazing. So he is. If you go back like 2 or 3 years ago, look at his off season. I think there's a point where everybody has to get really fluffy to actually put on size. And I imagine I'll have to go there again eventually because I'm nowhere near the size I need to be. But where was I going with that? That's right. This past year with his most recent prep, his food's been really nice. So he's coming in at his best, and part of that's because I think he's working with Chris Tuttle now, so he's been keeping it pretty tight year round and been really dialed in. But yeah, he's just like eating through everything. And then his training partner, what's his name? I forget his name.
I can see his face right now, man. Damn.
Yep. He's a brick house.
He's got like two different last names. Justin Abbott.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Yes. So glad I remembered that because that guy's awesome.
You look at the food he's eating through, but I think he has a crazy metabolism. But
that guy keeps striated glutes year round.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's out here using probably like 5,000, 6,000 calories back end of the he is. So
his rest day is probably 6,000 calories.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but so it sounds like we're both looking to compete in 26 here. It'll be fun. I think. Is there like a particular show in and of itself you're looking at doing, or you're just like whatever's within that time frame?
Whatever's within that time frame, and within that time frame, I'm definitely going to be able to find something up here in Pittsburgh. That's what I'm looking for. Nearby, because I don't want to travel, so I don't. But if I have to, I will. If I have to go down to Virginia, I'll go down to Virginia. I don't think I'll make a trip the whole way down to North Carolina because that's like 8-hour drive, so it is beyond. Right. And if one's in Ohio, I mean Ohio's right next to me, so that's nice. So I have some options to choose from.
You're like in a nice little dot on the map where you can kind of circle around it and find whatever you need.
That's right. Yep. So, just hop in, get it, and then.
Yeah, that's what I did with my second show. Is I just kind of picked the time frame and then found the one that best fit in that. But now going through this third show, I actually do have a specific show in mind. Did you see that most recent show that they just had in North Carolina, the Mecca Classic? The Gold's Gym. Oh, dude, I picked the hell of a show to do next year. The dude who won that just turned pro. I don't remember what his name was, but the dude, that was like his first show or his first or second show. He won the bodybuilding overall, and then I think he just won the overall in either heavies or super heavies. I think it was heavies and North Americans, or whichever the show you were just at was, which was North Americans.
Oh, really? That was him.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Yeah, he looked good. He was. I watched. I was there. I watched it in person. These guys come out, and it's a different level. So it is. Yeah.
He was wearing black posing trunks, African American gentleman, very round, bubbly, but also crazy good conditioning. I don't remember what his name was, but yeah, that show's in Raleigh, which is why I picked it because Raleigh's only 45 minutes away from Rocky Mount here. So I was like,
Yeah.
fuck it, I'm gonna do it. You know,
Perfect.
under an hour drive. Let's send it.
And I mean, it depends on who shows up, of course, but
Oh yeah,
you're going to give your
and I'm not saying that like, oh, I picked a big show, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. No, I don't care about that. You want to have good competition at your show because
exactly.
at the first show I did, there was nobody there. There was no competition. And the second show
Yeah.
I did, there was great competition. There were like 14 of us in the class.
And the way I look at it is that if you show up and you don't win, it just means you're not ready
Not good
yet.
enough.
So
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
exactly.
So that just means, well, what do? You just go back, you
Yeah.
rebound, get better, and you come back again. So
Yeah, and it's like
yeah,
if you're like us and the stage is just a snapshot of time, but the real love is for actual bodybuilding. It doesn't matter if you win or
yep,
lose. It just matters if you bring a better package than you brought last time. That's all it is.
exactly. Yep, that's what it is. Yep,
Yeah.
that's
So,
exactly right.
but needless to say, I got my work cut out for me because it looks like, and it was the inaugural year of the show. It was the very first time this show had ever been done, but
Mhm.
it's a big show. I'm looking forward to
That'll be
that.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking here for about an hour and a half. I don't want to take any more of your time, but
Oh, really? Has it been that long?
yeah, man, time flew by though. That's the thing. When you're talking about bodybuilding, time can go by. Yeah.
Yeah, it is 1:07. All right, sounds
Yeah,
good.
I
I'll
need
get
to
off
eat
this.
too. I don't know about you, but I got to get a meal in. But yeah, dude, this was super fun. I'd love to have you on again and just shoot shit about bodybuilding. Maybe we can, because shoot, what are we, 6 weeks out from the Olympia? 7 weeks?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Definitely
Yep.
need to talk about that because what a show that's going to be.
Oh, it's going to be. Yeah, it's this year. I don't know who you're a big fan of, but I'm a big Walker fan, so I am.
I
So
love Nick. I can't say there's a guy in the top 10 that I'm not a fan of right now though. They're all so
to be
good.
honest, yeah. And if Quinn, he hasn't qualified yet. I don't think, right? Clint Eastwood, he's getting ready. He's trying to
Yeah,
qualify,
no,
right?
he hasn't. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
He hasn't
Yeah,
qualified.
so
But yeah.
I'm hoping he qualifies because he's another favorite of mine. I don't think he's
Yep.
gonna win it, but
No,
not this year at
he
least.
can.
But
He can though. One day he can.
one day he can. That's why I said not this year. But
Oh yeah, Mr.
yeah, it's
Potential
gonna
right
be
there.
this year. Yep.
Yeah, I love Nick.
Yeah.
I love Derek. I love Hottie. I love Samson. Samson's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean Andrew Jacked, Jordan Hutchinson. I think Jordan's gonna be in the mix. Martin, Brett. All these guys. They're so good. Like what a time! All these old heads that are poo pooing on bodybuilding being weak right now, man. They don't know what they're talking about. There's
No.
never been a better time to be a fan of bodybuilding because
They're
I think legitimately you got like 6 or 7 guys that could all be fighting for that top spot,
Yeah, exactly, and it's going to be like that for the coming years as well.
which is
So,
interesting. As much as people like to say the reign of Phil, the reign of Ronnie, reign of Jay, all these guys like, oh, there's no legit champion now. It's just whoever. Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from in terms of building a legacy there, but man, as a viewer of the sport, that's the best
Yeah.
time when you have the spot constantly rotating because you can always
Exactly.
catch on your toes.
because after some time, this is the last thing I'll say and we get off here, but after some time, Classic, it got boring because
Yeah.
we knew Chris went. And right now, if 212, as long as Keon's there, no one's taking it. So it's like, well,
Yeah, heavy lies
who's
the crown.
playing for second? Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
So,
I love Sean Florida, but he ain't got a snowball's chance in hell.
no, nobody's got snow.
Keon would have to literally break his leg a day. Like he'd have to not be able to physically get on the stage to lose.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Yeah.
Talk about a physique that could be Mr. Olympia like of open right there. Good God.
Yep. Yeah.
Super impressive. But yeah, this was super fun. I definitely would love to do this again. But I'm gonna end it right here. Thank you for your time. I'm gonna
Okay.
link your Instagram and all the bios and stuff here. But yeah, this has been another episode of the Iron Obsession Podcast. To anyone who stuck around for an hour and a half of this, thank you. But yeah, that's all. Peace, guys.